Welcome to Producer Profile. Producer Profile is a show where we showcase some of the talented people who work behind the scenes in the entertainment, business, and local communities while making positive influences on the lives of others.
I'm Stella Winston.
And I'm Jim Hill.
Our guest producer today is really interested in people. She's a documentarian, and her first endeavor was Beyond the Bars, No Extended Embraces, which focused on the lives of 5 women who were in love with men who were incarcerated. And her next endeavor is called And the Money Will Follow. And we're going to find out just what that's all about in a moment. But first, let's welcome Julia O'Farrell to Producer Profile.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
You know, in the streets, the brothers always talk about, you know, when you do a bid, your woman does the bid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a truth to that?
Yes. Yes, and actually it's 6 women.
6 women, right,
yeah,
okay.
It profiles 6 women, but that's what a lot of the women experience. You know, there's hardships and waiting for their man to be released. And it is like doing a bid.
Do they really wait?
Well, that's an interesting, that's an interesting question. The 6 women that I interviewed were in long-term relationships. A couple of them, well, most of them were in long-term relationships, and most of the ones profiled did wait a very long time. Sophia, who's the main interest in the film, she's been waiting for her fiance to be released. I think he is going into close to 30 years. And
wow.
That's a long time.
That's an interesting story because he was accused of something that he didn't do, and he could be out. What's the story behind him?
Actually, there was a documentary, I believe, that appeared on BCAT, where it was his only interview, which was interesting. But I didn't really want to get into particulars of that. The film does mention he jumped a turnstile, and he got into a scuffle with a police officer. But he feels that it was self-defense. So his stance that he's taking is that he won't go in front of the parole board. And since he had gotten 15 years to life, if you don't go in front of the parole board, life. So.
Now, the B-roll, the clip is getting ready to go. What are we going to see from Beyond the Bars, No Extended Embraces?
It's going to begin with Adaletta. Actually, Adaletta happens to be Sophia Bandelli's daughter, who's also in the film, and I guess we could roll it because I have some news that I would want to talk about after.
Okay. Okay, let's go to the clip.
It's difficult. We can't even communicate on the same wavelength, much less can we get together in the same room.
Now, being on these trailer visits, you know, we kind of get a feeling of what each one of us is talking about. I'm not a morning person, so I'm gritting my teeth when he says, "Wake up, babe, wake up." You know, I don't want to deal with that. And being single and living a single life, so to speak, sleeping alone all these years for the last 7, I think it's all from me. All right, but trying to hold that in restraint. And that's just the weekend, so we know we have to work on something for this long 7 days a week stuff. And him being incarcerated for 15 years. He sleeps alone, has slept alone for 15 years. The slightest noise, he's up like this. I wasn't sleeping at one point, but we were laying in the bed, and he was sleeping. He woke up, he looked at me like a stranger, and then he went on to sleep.
He has a life sentence. He may never come home. He may not. If he does come home, I don't know if, well, I've often thought maybe we'll get a 2-bedroom apartment, a big 2-bedroom apartment. That way, if we have an argument or something, I can go in another room and not have to worry. I can slam the door and lock it if I think he's getting too violent.
He should be home in 2000. And right now, while he's in prison, he makes glasses optical glasses, prescription glasses, and he's very good at it. And he just got a promotion, so he kind of makes his own money, which is a plus. My husband does make money, okay? And in the future, I see myself retiring from my job in 4 years, and us being in business together at an optics store, preferably out of state.
1988, that's 10 years, right? 10 years ago. This is from Kenyatta to me.
Wow.
Yes.
Let me ask you something. When you're incarcerated, sometimes you're so far upstate you have to pump sunshine in you. I mean, do they have to take the trip to see them?
Yeah.
That's part of the bid.
That's part of the bid. That's part of the bid. But the bright side, I just found out recently, reason why I wanted to show that clip, Adaletta, who appeared in The Green, when I was doing the film, she seemed, out of the 6 women, very optimistic. As you saw in the clip, she was saying, she felt that her husband would be out in 2000, which he didn't get out in 2000. But I found out recently that he was released.
Wow.
So that's very good news. She had a child, a daughter, earlier this year, and I believe that the husband got out a little bit before the child's first birthday. So that's happy news.
That's good news.
That's good
Wow.
news. That's good news.
Yeah, and we're here with Julia O'Farrell, and she's working on a second piece. Her first piece is Beyond the Bars, No Extended Embraces, and
And you said the full title.
Yes.
Sometimes people chop off that second half.
When did you do that?
It was completed in 1999. It was my thesis film for City College, their master's program. I was in the first graduate class.
Okay. You're working on a new project,
Yeah.
and it's called And the Money Will Follow.
Yeah. Do you like that title?
Yeah.
I love that title.
Yes, I love it.
And the philosophy behind it, I guess you've heard, most people, I don't know, everybody's heard the expression, do what you love and the money will follow. So for me, I love when I can come across someone that says, they love their job. And this documentary will focus on spoken word artists.
Now let's go back into your history a little bit. You, before you started making documentaries, you were in the corporate world. And
Yes.
something happened, we got laid off, but guess what? She went into making films.
Yes.
So-
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. So you self-actualized.
Yes. What happened was, I think I was secretly wishing that I would get laid off. But, once it hit me, the money. But, how I work for a bank, and with mergers and acquisitions, and a new bank took over, and I got laid off. And I decided to go back to school, and I could have gone for finance to continue my career that way, make money, make more money, but I decided to go back for something that I love. So it was either writing or film, and I went back to film. I completed, I had a 2-year degree, so I got my BA, and then I got my MFA in film.
So a corporate woman has found freedom.
Yeah, I didn't have my dreads back then.
I can imagine. And with this
Yeah.
freedom, what are you trying to say with your documentaries? What are you trying to tell us?
I like to tell stories about people.
Okay.
I love to document, especially people of color. I think, it's a diverse population. We have a lot of stories to tell. Right now, I'm on a path of documenting people that you might not ordinarily see. Even as far as the spoken word, I get some advice sometimes as far as going for the bigger names. But
Now we have a clip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you're working on now, and the money will follow. Now
right.
set it up for us, please.
Right. This is Tandra. This is her stage name, and she's merging. She's very popular in the poetry circuit, and I want to follow her career as she works toward her goals. And this clip that's going to be shown is her first European tour. A lot of artists, African-American spoken word artists, are going overseas, going to Germany, going to London, and that's where I accompanied her this past March. So that's what the clip.
Okay, so let's go to the clip.
Reading signs of the future while gathered at round tables in chic poetry venues.
Being on the road is really difficult, and a traveling poet, it's taxing. I mean, if you have gigs every day, you have to rest, you have to rehearse, you have to meet people. The people that I met were wonderful. My hosts overseas, Ryle in Germany, John Paul O'Neill in London. I mean, they were just fabulous. They made the transition easy. I didn't worry about how I had to get places because they made sure that I got there.
Germany, if you have a poetry show, people often think that it is a reading, that the people are standing on the stage, but normally are sitting on the stage and reading from their books or papers. It's the first step to install a new consciousness of what can a reading be.
You press my palm up against your mind so that my beat could become your rhythm. My beat could become your rhythm. My beat could become.
In terms of the language barrier, there was definitely a language issue there, but nevertheless, the people in Germany showed me a lot of love. They gave me a lot of support. People came up to me after my performances and told me that even though they didn't understand every single concept, they felt my energy, and there were passages in my work that they were able to identify with. So that's the blessing. You know, I touched somebody over there. They certainly touched me with their love and support. Me being an unknown poet, basically from America, coming into Germany, with that, I mean, they were really great.
Fused by the fire of my desire, scattering love like inbound particles of eternity.
In autumn, Ainsley Burroughs was here, and in May, Roger Bonnet-Agal will be in. Yeah. And the contact is the Munich Slam. Ralph Hatzak and Kobylanski, they are, I would say, they are the entrance for the African-American poets to come to Germany.
I sway windward because I'm so inclined to feel blows billowing dreadlocks like fires raging, bright beacons of lighting the way to love.
I love you. But more importantly, I see reference to
I'm trying to brand the word space. So Julia, what was it like for you over in Germany? What was it like?
It's expensive getting, no, it wasn't that bad. For a struggling filmmaker it was, but it was interesting. It was interesting. I bought a camera just for that purpose to document it. To Germans, there was a host, someone that showed us around. And as far as English, most of the people there enjoyed the poetry and they were able to understand most of it. Mm-hmm. When they spoke and they did their poetry, we didn't understand anything, but they were able to understand fairly well.
You know, I underestimated you, and I almost put my foot in my mouth, because when you were saying you are people that we wouldn't ordinarily see and routes, I was thinking about the Chitlin circuit. And I said, wow, Munich, man, that's a long way from home.
The Chitlin circuit, that's for sure.
Wow. So, but the language barrier, that must have been awfully difficult.
No, not at all, not at all.
So
because I think in a lot of the foreign countries, they really teach English.
Yeah, they're multilingual, but in America, we know one language, and that's the English language, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
And Ebonics.
And I wish that I knew I wish that I knew a little bit more German.
Okay.
Yeah, and they even spoke about possibly translating some of the poetry into German, which might be an interesting endeavor.
Now, is the spoken word popular over there in Germany? Is that something that they do on a regular basis?
Yes, it's been popular. I interviewed a few people there, and it's been popular, I think, the last couple of years. Not to the extent that it is here, where you have a venue every night. Mm-hmm. One of the differences there is that they have slams, whereas here, where you could just feel comfortable with just reading. I don't know if you're familiar with slam, but a slam is where poets compete, and the poem is rated. And when Tandra performed there, some poets aren't interested in slam, and they're not into the competition.
Right.
They just want to share. That's what Tandra usually does. So this was her first time slamming there.
How'd you do?
She did fairly well.
Is the money coming?
Has it followed?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about why you named it And the Money Will Follow.
Yeah. As I said, I love my philosophies. I think that poets or anybody that, different art forms should be paid for their art. Not that you should focus on the money, but I believe that you should be able to do what you love and be able to get paid. So one of the things that I was attracted to when I was reintroduced to poetry was the way that a lot of the poets were marketing themselves and trying to do it full time. I mean, quitting their jobs and focusing on touring throughout the states. There's a university circuit where the poets visit different schools. Mm-hmm. They're out there selling their tapes, their CDs, their books. So I found that pretty interesting.
Now, the clip we saw was of Tandra. Now, there are many other poets and spoken word artists. Mm-hmm. Now, in your documentary, And the Money Will Follow, will Tandra be the only one, or will you also focus on other spoken artists?
You're so good. That's an interesting question. I have 3 other people in mind. With a documentary, you never know. Well, I shouldn't say you never know, but I have an idea. I have 4 other people that I'm interested in interviewing, but you never know how the final product is going to form. That'll come with editing and how the story flows and how I can make it interesting. And Tandra right now is the one that I have gotten the most footage of. Mm-hmm. But this is a clip that I put together for a fundraiser that I just had last week. So it's not actually a work in progress yet. But
you know what I sense about you, Julie, is that you're not in a rush. It's like this is you're enjoying the process, and that when it happens, it will happen. Am I getting that right? Am I reading that right?
Partially. Okay. No, I want to do a quality product. I want to, as far as like taking my time, it takes funds in order to shoot it, to edit it, to hopefully pay other people that work with me. So, it is a process. But you're very observant. Yeah, I am enjoying the process also. But I am hoping for, in my case also, as well as with the film, for the money to follow also.
What about men? I mean, are they a part of your future in the documentary?
You always get that question in.
That's so funny. That is so funny. Since my first one dealt with 5 women. Actually, Tandra, when I initially thought of other poets, Tandra was the only female. I can mention the other poets that I had in mind. One person is named Ngoma. The other person is Tahut 9. He's been very popular, and Kurt Nugent. So there were 3 men and 1 woman.
Okay, because I was about to audition.
I know.
Taller than the tallest tree is, deeper than the deepest sea is. Yeah. That's how much in love we is. Boy.
Yeah. He's auditioning for you right now.
Okay. And then I said there were 3 men and only 1 woman. So I think, I figured that I should have another woman. So there are 2 other women that I'm thinking about.
Now, your corporate background, does it play into...
No.
Not at all? Because I heard
No.
corporate woman. I did. Listen, when you were sitting there and you were talking about, well, we got to get the finance and we got to do this and I want a quality product, so on and so, I just felt...
But that's part of producing, yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to contact you, how can they contact you?
Well, my company is JGO Productions, and actually that's my initial spelled out.
Okay.
JGO. And JGO at AOL.com. And also I have a website, JGO.com. So, and you know, spelled out JAYGEEOH. And you're holding my tape.
Oh, yes. We must show this.
Yeah,
This
because I
is-
self-distribute.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
This is
self-distributing
Beyond the
it.
Bars, No Extended Embraces. And where
Yeah.
can this be found?
Well, as I said, I self-distribute, so people could visit the website and find out how to purchase it. You know, because I get all the time when I meet someone, they're like, well, when can we see it? You could have a copy and see it anytime you want, you know, at your leisure.
Is there a particular bookstore that you can name where it's sold? Or it's not sold?
Well, in Kuru.
And where is that?
That's on Washington Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want this tape, you know where to get it.
Yeah.
And you also have a website.
Right. You can purchase directly from me.
Okay. And the money will follow. I also have this. It's just a little pamphlet, and it's
Yeah, so-
information on this. But this will be out probably in another year or two, possibly?
Probably in another year. I'm in the process of still gathering information, gathering footage, writing grants.
Okay, and I want to thank you for coming to Producer
Okay.
Profile, Julia O'Farah. If you've been
Okay,
watching,
it's
I'm
been a
Stella.
pleasure.
Yes,
Love
Yeah.
it.
love it. Thanks for watching. I'm Stella Winston.
And I'm Jim Hill.
Till next time.